Stathopoulos and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible podcast, Grow, Scale, Master.
An energetic approach to drive progress, master skills, build strengths and put the strategy back into rapid business and personal success.
Backed by real-world experience in rapid scaling to playing the long-term game of business, it's the story of all the lessons learned on the journey to mastery.
Be inspired, renew your energy and chase the future with Grow, Scale, Master.
Con, one of the great things that I really enjoy when I get the chance to work inside of your business, and this is usually something you do at the start of every year, and you have a bit of like a theme about, what you're going to run for the whole year. Yes. And it's amazing because that theme gives people like real clarity outside of strategy and execution points about an overarching view on how you see the world and where you think the business can go. And one of the things I always think about is like business disciplines. And, one of the things I think about sometimes like core and extra. So you got to get the core right before you worry about too much of the extra stuff. What are your thoughts? How do you set up a theme? How does it work inside of a business? Why is it useful in terms of a leadership point? And how does it help people that are new to the organization, but also to your established talent to make sure that they're playing at their best when it comes to doing everything business?
I think the feeling or the strategy behind that, as a family, we pick a word every year that we want to focus on. So a couple of years ago, it was patience. Can we be patient with each other? Can we be patient with an outcome? Can we be patient with someone else's view? And I got to thinking about where our business was at. And as we've had that rapid growth, we wanted to be able to kind of slow things down before we could speed things up. So for us, for example, last year, our theme was basics and standards. Can we nail the basics 100% of the time? And what are those basics? For example, a landlord should be called within 2 hours and a buyer inquiry should be, called back within 30 minutes, etc. And at every point, could we increase our standard? Could we make it more memorable? So, for example, we've got a great theme this year, which I won't share because I haven't shared it with our team yet. But the whole idea around this is to give them clarity, focus, and attention to the bigger picture. Because the bigger picture, that vision, we've spoken about this for a while, but that vision is what people are chasing. Now, the thing is, with that discipline that we're talking about around business, is that sometimes people get so caught up in the minutiae of detail of getting that letterbox drop right or that social post right, but instead of calling back their past clients. So that's what basics and standards was all about in terms of a theme. So for us, it's kind of like our true north, our guiding light for what we think as an organisation is going to be able to help people grow for this next 12-month period.
The interesting thing, and I love that, level of clarity about bringing that into the business and about, if you think about business disciplines, the importance of simplifying the routine. Now, if you think about routine, we have, for example, the ability to be able to change perspective. So as I'm here with you, we've just finished our 2-day team retreat, which we do at the start of every year, which sets the entire strategic vision about where the business is going and where we're going to place our big bets and what that's going to look like. But we also then, boil that down into our monthlies, and that then boils down into then what we're doing on a weekly basis in terms of our meetings, and then even then down to what we're doing the daily routines of what are the daily meetings that we have inside of the business to be able to go and get pulse. How important is it for people to think about areas of control? So think about recruitment, think about a sales meeting, think about a property management meeting, think about a training and development meeting, and to make sure that they've got those routines in the business set up first so that people are clear about the purpose, and that ultimately that the more that you meet on something, the faster that you'll get growth or pulse on that particular thing.
Oh, huge. I mean, I think there's a Jeff Bezos video somewhere on the internet which says anyone that's in a leadership role, they're really paid to make 1 to 3 key decisions every single day. If you don't have routine and you don't have focus, you're going to get distracted by the things that actually don't matter.
Yeah.
So the whole idea around, let's take a sales agent. It's so simple. Go to Josh Phegan Blueprint, just go there, read the book, listen to the audios. AM is for prospecting, PM is for face-to-face.
Yeah.
How simple can that be?
Yeah.
So the genius is in the simplicity. And that's what routine brings, is it brings simplicity. So what is the one big thing that you're actually trying to achieve, and breaking it down, as you said, from an annual goal to quarterly to monthly to weekly to daily. And at the end of the day, you kind of stack those up on top and then you'll be surprised at what you can achieve. So routine will set you free.
So it's interesting, I've got here like the work sets you free. And when I mean by the work in getting clear on the strategy, what the tactics are going to look like, and then measuring that, so then you can actually make sure that you're on track. So as an example, if you said, okay, great, I want to get 5 listings a month, well, I'm going to need to be in front of 7 or 8 listing presentations. In order to do that, I might need to do 24 appraisals.
Spot on.
So therefore, like, I've got that clarity, but it's the work in defining what success looks like.
Correct.
That's the most important part for alignment in a business, right?
Correct, 100%, because everyone's got a different definition of what success looks like. But also, I've seen so many people along my time, they've got those clickers. I made 100 calls today. I've got 50 connects.
Yeah.
I don't really care about that. I care about how many quality conversations have you had, how many relationships have you built, and how much kind of authority have you got from someone to stay in touch with them. So it's really important, particularly in January right now. We know that this year there's going to be some turbulence. There's going to be some choppy waters. If you kind of read some of the economists, they're talking about, a great year, and you read the other side, they're talking about a bit of a choppy year. I look at it and I go, we can't control that. We can control what we do every single day that's going to help us get to where we want to get to. And that's why this is really important.
So, Con, what's the difference between like quality time in planning versus the quality time in execution?
Both equally, mate.
Yeah.
No plan, you can't execute.
Yeah.
And if you've got the wrong plan and you're executing, you're actually missing the target every day.
Yeah, sure.
So what is it that you want to achieve, Josh, in life?
Yeah.
What do you want to achieve in business?
Yeah.
What's the one big thing that's going to help you get to where you want to get to? If, for example, Tony Doherty has just joined McGrath, right? And there was a podcast, an internal one, a webinar, I should say, with John.
Yeah.
And he said one thing that kind of resonated with me. And he said, you don't want to be a 10 out of 10, and I'm probably butchering this, but he goes, you don't want to be a 10 out of 10 listing agent and then suck at negotiating and closing, because we don't get paid to list.
Yeah, sure.
You want to be a 7 or an 8, and you want to be a master at that, but you want to be a ninja when it comes to negotiating and getting a deal done. So I kind of look at that and I go, the simplicity is, what am I deficient in? Therefore that creates my plan, and how do I execute it to become better? Who are the people I've got to hang out with? What are the things I've got to read? What are the things I've got to listen to? How do I do my training? What is it that's going to help me move the needle forward? If I want to go from 4 deals to 7 deals or 8 deals, I need to upgrade myself, my team. Does it make sense?
Of course it does. The question I've got for you, like, is it evident to you when you walk into a salesperson's business, into a property management team, into a bigger business, about like, you can tell straight away that this business actually suffers from a lack of planning, or this one actually suffers from a lack of execution? Can you tell those?
Yeah, you can, because, the results don't lie, but B, also, it's the clarity of the conversations you're having with people. So, if I'm recruiting an agent or if I'm looking at a business, it's very simple. Talk to me about your life plan, your business plan. Talk to me, who's coaching you, what are you listening to? Very quickly, you can work out that there's no plan. So if there's no plan, then all we're relying on is energy. Yeah. Energy is not it's a finite resource, because at some point you're going to get tired. You're going to have a holiday. So that means that things are going to stop.
Yeah, sure.
And then conversely, you got the people that can execute brilliantly, but they're executing in all the wrong spots.
Yes, yeah.
So you've actually got to balance it up and work out, hey, where are my levers for growth? So, for example, in our organisation, we did a 12-month review in the last 12 months. We had a great year, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We've got 4 key areas where I know that we could probably grow the business, and this isn't a word of a lie, I reckon by 30 to 40%. And that's not with acquiring another agent or acquiring a business. So if we just focused on those...
Productivity.
Average commission.
Yeah, sure.
Days on market.
Yeah.
Clearance rate, and list to sell conversion.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty simple.
And so, like, I look at that because I think the story of Dubai is a great one, that in 2008, when all the GFC stuff went down, they were really good on the planning, but what they'd worked out is that they weren't great on execution. And so investors lost confidence that, they tell us that they're going to build this building or this infrastructure, but it doesn't happen.
Right.
And so what they've now learned is that, like, they must deliver on the projects that they say are going to be built.
Right.
And that they're doing the World at the moment, which is, the next version of the Palm.
Yes.
And that failed in 2008 because they didn't build the infrastructure of the next Palm at the time. So people didn't believe in the project.
Right.
Now they've built it. They've got the infrastructure there. Everything's ready to rock and roll, because they've now learned that planning is one thing, but execution absolutely equally must be delivered.
2025 is all about execution, Josh. You can have the best plan, but if you don't turn up every day, laser focused, sharp as a tack, enthusiastic, sticking to a simple plan, keeping yourself accountable, being coached, being mentored, learning and growing, you got no chance.
So what about the metrics that motivate? Like, I'm a big one that you got to see these reports and there's a million numbers that you can look at, but I always like a control number. Just look at that one number, and if that's right, I know that practically everything else in the business is good.
Yeah.
Is it important for you in a personal goal or a business goal to find one number that's going to be your control number that's going to help you to get there?
Yeah, I mean, A, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
They're always the source of truth. But B, more importantly, you got lead and lag indicators. So I get a forecast every single day. We've got a dashboard, a leaderboard, right?
Yeah.
So I can see very quickly the amount of calls, connects, BAPs, maps, laps, and then I can see how many have been listed or sold, right? So I can quickly forecast very, very quickly if we're on track or off track. So for me, from a broader business sense, absolutely, my control board, my metric, I've got a number one metric that can tell me, which is listings. We don't have the listing pipeline. I know that we're going to have a softness in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Personally, it's the same thing.
Sure.
It's net profit after tax. It's not how much revenue you got. It's what are you keeping?
Yeah.
Right, so that's the most important thing for me.
I read an old school Jim Rohn quote the other day, and it was all about that conversation of, that one little thing and how it adds up over a period of time. So I'm just not going to go for that walk today. And today it doesn't matter. But then tomorrow I'm not going to go for the walk either. And then it adds up and, goes to a month and goes to a year. And a year of not going for a walk every day, then you put on 5 kilos, and so that whole idea is about, the simplicity of things building up over a period of time, compound interest, the power of going and doing that. And imagine if you didn't go for that walk over the course of a life.
Yeah.
And so that's that whole conversation around like getting it really clear. So when I think about the business disciplines, make your business super simple. What are 1, 2, or 3 little things that if you committed to in terms of planning retreats, execution time, delivery of service to customer experience, if you got those things right, would that change the way that you actually go to work? And if you put a metric around that, so you actually were doing those things on a regular and consistent basis and focused on your appointments, you'll hit an incredible level of success.
100% agree.
Experiences that rapidly shaped you.
Con, one of the big things, I had like what I call a bipolar holiday, and I know that sounds really funny, but one part of my holiday was like a quiet retreat. The other part of my holiday was busy and people around and lots of conversations. And it was a really nice contrast because in the first part of the holiday, it was all about reflection and projection and thinking time and reading time and time on your own and getting to think about where you want to go and what you want to see and exploring and looking at stuff and finding things to hook onto for inspiration and motivation. Then the second part of the holiday was actually like busy and hectic. I went to a place where you had to line up for 2 hours to get breakfast. There was that many people there. Right. It was out of control.
Right.
And what it taught me a lot about is about like really thinking intentionally about what's the experience that I actually want to provide. And so this is an interesting thing. Do I like busy and hectic, or do I like quiet, or do I like a good mixture of both? And what's the difference between high end or low end in terms of experiences at a holiday, whether or not you're paying $200 for a room or you're paying $1,000 for a room? What are the sorts of experiences and the things that those people go to provide? And so the lesson to me is like, get really, really intentional about knowing what it is that you sell.
Yeah.
So we're a premium service, and we're also now going to go in there and we're going to get the painter there and we're going to get you the quotes to the gardens and we're going to do all of those things, and we're going to do all of that. That's included in the fee to get those quotes. That's why we charge a higher average fee than another competitor in marketplace.
Yeah.
Or we're in a position that, we're in a position that like, you are going to have to stand in line at check-in and you're going to need to wait at that, and good luck. But that's why we've got 2 agents at every open so that we can actually speed consumers through at that open for inspection experience to make sure that they're getting a high quality outcome, which therefore leads to better quality lead generation.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of conversation to go and get that right. Is there anything in your world of experiences that are changing?
Well, there was. I was actually thinking the same thing, reflecting over the Christmas break and the New Year break. There's a guy called Sharan Srivatsa.
Right.
He's in the US. He's in where is it? Orange County.
Oh, yeah.
He had a business called Talus Properties, and he sold that to Douglas Elliman, right? And I met him years ago at a Tom Ferry session, about 10 years ago. And he said to me at the time, he goes, what's the number one thing that you need to focus on that will grow your business? And I said, recruitment. And he goes, tell me about the recruitment in Australia. How long does it take? And I said, it can take 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years.
Yeah.
It all depends. It depends on your skill set. And he goes, mate, you know what? We're in a very similar environment. He goes, but we did one thing that changed our business in the last 12 months. I said, well, please, can you share? And he goes, absolutely. He goes, my business partner and I went to 100 listing appointments and sat there and we noted every single objection that a vendor gave, market share, marketing, feed, method, yada, yada, yada. And he goes, it was so hard because there were so many instances where we could jump in and save it, but we didn't because we wanted it to be A, learning experience, but B, we wanted to get the real data. He goes, after our 100, which was about 60 days, we sat in a room and we put all these Post-it notes of all the objections and then we married them down into 7. Fee, marketing, method of sale, what do I need to do to get ready, how long it's going to take, market share, all that type of stuff.
Ease of life.
Yeah. And he goes, then for the next 90 days, all we did was train how to handle those objections because they get disguised by hundreds of different other ways.
Yeah.
And he goes, we grew our business by 6 million GCI the next 12 months, which is essentially having 10 or 15 new agents join our business. So the simplicity sometimes is actually right in front of us. We need the time to reflect and we need the time to then execute.
Something that's changing your view.
Colin, the real value add to me is in either saving of time or the giving of a memorable experience. And I think a little bit about this, I went and got a massage over the holidays, and when I went to that particular place, they had it on an iPad and you had to fill in, all the health details, about, how you like your massage and whatever the story was. But it was actually really good because, they were there and they were attentive.
Yeah.
The second place that I went to, on the second part of the holiday, they got you to pre-fill that before you turned up.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time I turned up, I didn't have to go through that experience and everything was already done. And so I always just think about that, what you be doing in terms of your sales process to alleviate a pressure point. And a good example of that is the pre-listing presentation survey that you send out to the client, 5 or 6 couple of quick questions about what it is that they want, challenges they might perceive, where they think their property sits in relation to price. So that by the time you got there, you've already got 2 bites of the cherry, 1 in the phone call and 2 in the email survey or the SMS survey about understanding need identification so you can further lock more things down before you go to present so you can be more potent.
Yeah, love that. One thing that's changing my view is we're in the communication era right now.
Yeah.
And it sounds so crazy because everything's got chatbots and AI and call centers and whatnot. You just can't beat human-to-human contact. Good, bad or otherwise, the delivery of news in real time so people can make real-time decisions is exactly what we get paid to do.